What if salt were not just a seasoning in our meals, but nature's own time machine? Would you believe it? For centuries, salt has been seen as a symbol of endings, a place where life is buried, where decay comes to a halt. Yet science reveals that halite, rock salt from ancient oceans, can trap briny droplets and microorganisms for hundreds of millions of years. At depths of more than 600 meters beneath the Permian Basin, scientists have discovered organisms that have slept for 250 million years, longer than the age of the dinosaurs. We usually think of fossils as hardened stone remnants, while life itself is fragile and quick to vanish. But here lies the paradox. Salt, long associated with death and barrenness, may in fact preserve the most delicate seeds of life across millennia. Do these salt crystals merely store traces of Earth's ancient past, or do they hold clues about the very possibility of extraterrestrial life? To find out, we must descend deep underground, where ancient salt layers tell the extraordinary survival story of microorganisms from the Permian era, and reveal a secret that could change how humanity searches for life in the universe. Salt, the remnant of a dead ocean, the emblem of barren land, a place where life seemed to end. For thousands of years, humans have used it to preserve, to halt decay, regarding it as a permanent tomb. But what if we were wrong? What if salt is not the period at the end of life's sentence, but a time machine? To seek the answer, we must go 660 meters underground into the Permian Basin, home of the WIPP facility, where humanity buries its most dangerous nuclear waste for 10,000 years. These chambers are carved into a salt layer more than 600 meters thick, formed 250 million years ago. Here, we seal away the dark future. But nature has also stored an ancient past. Science shows that halite, rock salt, is the perfect trap. As it crystallizes, it encloses brine droplets and microorganisms, like a snapshot of an ancient biosphere. Ironically, the same place where we bury the most perilous legacy of the modern world is also a treasure vault, preserving the oldest life on Earth. Halobacteria, the survivor of 250 million years. The year 2000. Microbiologist Russell Vreeland embarked on a mission that sounded like science fiction. His goal was not a fossil, but a ghost, a living organism asleep for 250 million years. But to find it, he had to prove it was no intruder from our world. Every surface, every tool, every breath was a potential source of contamination. The probability of contamination had to be less than 1 in a billion. To guarantee the integrity of the discovery, Vreeland's team followed the strictest sterilization protocols, including washing samples with strong alkalis and acids. They drilled into the Permian Enceladus salt formation, 564 meters below the surface. Inside the crystal lay a microscopic time machine, a fluid inclusion containing brine. This was not just water, it was a preserved droplet of the Permian Ocean, sealed away before the first dinosaurs walked the Earth, before the continents took their present shape. And inside that droplet, something waited. Later, chemical analyses confirmed that these inclusions contained evaporated Permian seawater, identified by unique ion concentrations, distinct from modern oceans. The organism trapped within was identified as a spore-forming bacterium of the Bacillus genus, named strain 293. And then it happened. After 250 million years of silence, life stirred. But the discovery met a storm of skepticism. Geologists argued that the crystal could have recrystallized, trapping modern water. Biologists insisted DNA could not possibly survive that long. Geneticists pointed out its DNA was too similar to modern bacteria. Vreeland was being put on trial. This extraordinary claim faced rigorous scientific cross-examination. 3 main criticisms arose. Geologists questioned the true age of the crystals. Biochemists argued that natural DNA decay would destroy genetic material over such vast timescales. And geneticists claimed its similarity to modern Bacillus. Maris Mortui suggested contamination. Yet science answered with science. Crystallization temperature analysis confirmed the ancient surface origin of the salt, disproving recent recrystallization. Radiation dose calculations showed DNA survival was possible. Most importantly, deeper molecular analysis revealed significant differences in fatty acid structures, and genetic regions compared to modern relatives, ultimately ruling out contamination. This extraordinary claim survived its trial by fire, and its conclusion emerged stronger. This scientific resurrection echoed ancient human myths. Cultures across the world tell of suspended and reborn life, from Norse god Odin, who hung himself on the world tree to be reborn with new knowledge, to Haitian zombie lore, a soulless body reanimated by a sorcerer, which, intriguingly, could be freed by feeding it salt. The idea of life-deceiving death seems as old as storytelling itself. But here, in this laboratory, myth became measurable reality. Dunaliella and cyanobacteria, artists in a crystal prison. With advanced microscopy and CGI, we peer into a community of organisms trapped together. We focus on a vibrant green cell, Dunaliella. The 250-million-year-old survivor was not alone. When scientists examined other, younger salt deposits, they discovered something even more remarkable. Fluid inclusions were not solitary confinement cells. They were lifeboats, carrying entire ecosystems in suspended animation. Studies of salt deposits in Death Valley and Saline Valley revealed the presence of trapped ecosystems, including halophilic prokaryotes and eukaryotes. As surrounding brine grew saltier, cells pumped themselves full of glycerol to maintain osmotic balance and avoid dehydration. Some of this glycerol leaked out, becoming food for nearby prokaryotes. The star of this microscopic crew is a unicellular green alga called Dunaliella. A master of survival in extreme salt environments, it avoids shriveling like a salted slug by flooding its own cells with glycerol, a sugar alcohol. But here lies the genius of this system, that glycerol becomes a ration pack, a slow-drip energy source for its prison mates, allowing them to perform essential maintenance tasks, such as DNA repair, across millennia. This hypothesis, that Dunaliella provides glycerol and other metabolites, fundamentally reshaped our understanding of long-term survival. It shows that prokaryotes can persist for tens of thousands of years in a state of slowed metabolism rather than complete dormancy, enabling them to repair inevitable time-induced damage. This is not the story of an individual's endurance, but of the resilience of an entire system. Dunaliella cells from 100,000-year-old salt, still green and orange. The scene shifts into CGI, depicting the primordial Earth, with oceans dominated by cyanobacteria releasing oxygen. The preservation is so perfect that even pigments, chlorophyll and carotenoids remain intact after 100,000 years. It is like finding a painting from the Ice Age that is still wet. And beside them, we encounter even older ghosts, cyanobacteria, the ancient architects that built our planet, trapped like gems inside these crystalline tombs. The presence of perfectly preserved pigments in Dunaliella and the discovery of ancient cyanobacteria in halite showed that these time machines preserve not only life itself, but also the colors and functions of lost worlds. This has profound implications for the search for extraterrestrial life. Perhaps we should not only look for single microorganisms, but also for chemical signatures of entire ecosystems that have been trapped. Small fission-sealed microorganisms. Nature has other time machines, of course. The most famous is amber, fossilized tree resin traps insects in golden tombs. They give us spectacular snapshots of behavior. A pair of flies caught in the act of mating for 20 million years, an ant frozen mid-battle. But amber preserves only a ghost, a delicate form. Salt does something else. It is not like a photograph, but like mummification. The ancient Egyptians understood this, using natron, a mixture of salts, to preserve the bodies of their pharaohs for the afterlife. They sought to keep the soul bound to a physical shape. Permian salt, by a quirk of chemistry, achieved something even deeper. It preserved the machinery of life itself. We usually think of fossils as stony replicas of hard parts, bones, teeth, shells. Soft tissues are the first to vanish. But salt preservation broke that rule. Because it is not a slow replacement process, it is sudden burial. Crystals grow around the organism in an instant, sealing it off from oxygen, bacteria, and even time itself. The result is a vault of the most fragile things. Scientists have found evidence of entire microfaunas, eukaryotes such as protozoa and rotifers, organisms that would normally vanish without a trace. This is the central paradox of salt. The most delicate beings, the ones most likely to disappear, are the very ones preserved intact. Studies have documented the preservation of many types of eukaryotic and prokaryotic organisms in halite from different ages, including the 830 million-year-old Brown Formation in Australia. Rotifers, complex multicellular animals, are a prime example of organisms found in salty environments that can survive extreme conditions. And this preservation is not limited to the microscopic world. In sedimentary layers formed from ancient saline seas, paleontologists have found exquisitely preserved fish with delicate scales and fragile bones intact. This raises a tantalizing question. If salt can preserve a single cell with such fidelity, what about larger things? Imagine a small fish trapped in a dying lagoon of the Permian 250 million years ago. As the water evaporated, it turned into thick, briny mud. Within hours, not millennia, salt crystallized around it, forming a solid tomb. No scavengers, no bacteria could reach it. Could a perfectly preserved vertebrate, not a fossil, but the real organism, be waiting inside one of these salt beds? Scientists have already documented clear preservation of many types of microorganisms, including protozoa, algae, and rotifers, inside fluid inclusions of halite dating back hundreds of millions of years. Rotifers, being multicellular animals, show that salt can preserve life forms more complex than single-celled bacteria. This process is similar to how insects are trapped in tree resin, later fossilizing into amber. But salt has an advantage. It not only preserves form, but also has the ability to preserve original organic molecules, thanks to its dehydrating properties. Although the discovery of a fully intact vertebrate fish completely sealed within a Permian salt block remains a hypothetical scenario, it is entirely scientifically plausible. If complex microorganisms and organic molecules such as cellulose and DNA can persist for 250 million years in salt, then the preservation of a small fish caught under rapid evaporation conditions in the same way is a reasonable possibility. Sedimentary beds from ancient saline seas have already yielded exquisitely preserved fish, with delicate scales and bones intact, further supporting this scenario. The evidence for small fish and sealed microorganisms rests on a solid scientific foundation. Salt both creates a chemically ideal environment to halt decay, leading to exceptionally preserved fossils in Lagerstätten, and has the capacity to directly entomb organisms through rapid crystallization. It is this latter mechanism that creates the paradox. By burying organisms suddenly and completely, salt has protected the most fragile life forms from the ravages of time, turning them into extraordinary, biological time machines. Command from astrobiology, a 250 million-year-old bacterium, a 100,000-year-old ecosystem. These are not just oddities from Earth's deep past. They are a roadmap, a proof of concept for the greatest quest in human history, the search for extraterrestrial life. These discoveries connect directly to astrobiology and the panspermia hypothesis, the idea that life may be scattered across the universe. They provide a crucial search image, fundamentally reshaping mission priorities. For decades, we have searched for signs of past water on Mars. Now, we know where to search for life. In 2008, NASA's Mars Odyssey orbiter discovered vast chloride salt deposits, identical to the salt formations on Earth that have preserved ancient life. This is no longer just intriguing geology. They are prime targets. Every salt deposit on Mars is a potential crime scene, and the evidence we seek is a body. The discovery of chloride deposits on Mars identified them as key targets. They show that large amounts of water once evaporated, that brines may have concentrated and preserved organic material, and that Earth offers a direct analog where life has been preserved for millions of years. The recent detection of potential biosignatures by Perseverance near ancient riverbeds only adds to the allure. The search does not end on Mars. Beyond, in the realm of the gas giants, are worlds with their own oceans hidden beneath icy shells. Europa and Enceladus. We know their oceans are salty. We know they have chemical energy from hydrothermal vents. And thanks to the Cassini probe, we know Enceladus's ocean contains organic compounds and phosphorus, every ingredient essential for life as we know it. Europa possesses all the necessary components for life: a salty ocean, the required chemicals, and energy from tidal flexing. Even more astonishing, Enceladus's plumes have been confirmed to contain organic compounds, salts, and phosphorus, a critical element for DNA. This single crystal from our planet has rewritten the rules of survival. It poses the ultimate question. If life can sleep for 250 million years inside a grain of salt on Earth, what might be waiting for us in the frozen brines of another world? Are we searching for fossils? Or are we preparing for a wake-up call? We began with a grain of salt, the remnant of a dead ocean, and ended with a key unlocking an archive of life. From the ghost bacterium of 250 million years to Dunaliella, algae, and cyanobacteria sealed like wet color photographs. From the amber of the microscopic world to the hypothesis of salt vaults on Mars and the icy oceans beyond, all are telling the same story. Life is more resilient than we ever imagined, and salt does not end time, it bends it. If a briny droplet in halite can hold the breath of the Permian, then in those distant salt vaults, perhaps there are not just fossils. Perhaps there is a wake-up call. Now, it's your turn. Do you lean toward tomb or time machine? Leave a comment below and share what surprised you most in today's journey. And if you want to keep exploring the wonders of nature, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to stay with the channel.